So now let's look at the usage of proof of work as a whole. So as I indicated, to solve this cryptographic problem, what you do is you randomly guess. Randomly guess means basically you run a very simple operation, the hash operation, using your computers. And as you do this, what you do is essentially you burn energy, because all of these computations require computation power, computers require electricity, and they create a lot of heat in the process. And so what you do is essentially you just consume electricity. Now, most of the mining farms, if you want to know, they're actually in far north. I think Iceland has quite a few of those. And you have also a lot in China. China also has a lot of cold regions and cheap electricity. Early on, when Bitcoin was conceived, much of the mining power came from university dorm rooms when people just ran their computers there. But those days are over because you need specialized equipment nowadays. Now, the problem is that, so just in January 2019, the Nakamoto Consensus Protocol consumed the equivalent of Austria's or 2 Denmarks or, 3 islands or 4 nuclear power plants output on every single day. This is an astronomical amount. And just to, to secure, a few thousand transactions a day, it's crazy, right? So now there's a question of, are there better ways to A, use the resources as they are, and B, is there a way maybe around burning the planet's resources in order to shift digital stickers around? So first of all, the Ethereum network is working, and they have been promising from the time that they wrote their white paper. They have promised that they want to transition to proof of stake. They have multiple protocols. This is, however, not an easy problem to solve. The current one, that there's 2 versions that are very popular. One of them is from Vitalik Buterin. It's called Casper the Friendly Finality Agent or Gadget. So there are several implementations that are being contemplated for proof of stake. The one that I just mentioned actually is still a hybrid between proof of stake and proof of work. But many people are working on this and trying to solve this. Now, there are blockchains actually that use proof of stake. So, and there's blockchains that use different types of consensus protocols. We can talk about some of them in a minute. The Bitcoin network also has a sidechain, essentially, which is the so-called Lightning Network. Now, this is essentially the idea there is that you use, you put money basically, essentially in some form of escrow, which is like a wallet, and then from that wallet you can do a lot of spends, right? Within a network, within the Lightning Network, which is not a blockchain. It's just a simple processing network. And then once you're done with your spending, you can take the money back out and settle it on the blockchain. So the technical term for that is a sidechain, where you have a number of transactions, and only the final settlement occurs on the major blockchain. There is the Cardano network that uses delegated proof of stake. There's also something referred to as Algorand. It comes from MIT and Waterloo. It has been developed by a Turing Award winner. And so what they have is a random validator assignment. And then there's the Avalanche protocol. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Now, just a quick reality check. Let's have a look at the capacities of various different blockchains as they exist. So the Bitcoin network can process at the moment 7 transactions a second. Ethereum can do, I say 30 here, I think it can actually do up to 40. The Algorand network that I mentioned can do about 2,000. Now I'm talking, then I'm talking about 2 items here, the Conflux network and Ethereum, both of which I'm going to review in a minute. So they can do 4,000 to 5,000 depending on which network it is. Conflux just is another proof of work blockchain. So it basically works in a very similar way to Ethereum, except that they are, very, very clever about what they do in their terms of their resources. And Ethereum uses a proof of stake blockchain, which is a sidechain of Ethereum. I'll have to explain that in a second how that works. Now, let's just compare this to what is currently used in the world of payments, let's say. So Payments Canada has the automated clearing and settlement system, which essentially processes most of the debit transactions that we have, and they do something on the order of 28 million a day, so that's around 650 a second. if you take the day as a 12-hour time period, because it doesn't happen 24 hours long. Then you have US retail. If I extrapolate from the Canadian one, that would be roughly 7.7 thousand a second. And then, you know, if you have equity trades in Canada, right, if you wanted to put a stock exchange on the blockchain, that's 46. So, you know, that's not a problem. But if you take all the orders into account too, then you need something like 3,600 just in order to get the amount of volume of activity processed on the blockchain. And you can see that it's clearly you know, beyond what most of these networks can do. So in other words, what you're seeing here is, in terms of the numbers, is that Bitcoin and Ethereum simply cannot handle even, you know, the smallest number of transactions in a small country like Canada. Now, some of the extended versions can handle a lot more, but in order to run the world of finance on the blockchain, none of these solutions currently is sufficient. That doesn't mean that it can't be done, right? So you can think about various different networks that you could run and various different processes you can run. And surely the technology is improving, just, you know, it's not going to happen overnight.